Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here. iOS 14 is finally here. After a long beta season and a very brief GM, the final build is actually here. In this video, let's go ahead and cover the biggest and best changes in iOS 14, and quite a bit has changed since the beta season began. I wanted to cover everything in this video, letting you know what to expect after updating to iOS 14. And yes, there are way more features than I'm showing you in this video. If I were to list those, this video would be several hours long, but these are the biggest changes coming to your iPhone or iPad with iOS 14. All right, let's start with the biggest visual changes, widgets. You can now populate your home screen with varying sizes of widgets from many different applications. There are Smart Stack widgets, which you can scroll to display different types of information, and it's highly customizable, although they're not very interactable. It would be nice for Apple to update that later on. Also, App Library. So now all of your apps show up in this easy to access list, everything in one place. You can actually hide certain apps or pages even from the main home screen, leaving things less cluttered. Great organization tool. And now in the control center, you'll find home favorites. Now you can jump in and see all of your home accessories, but in the control center page, you'll have just a small collection of your most used accessories. This can be disabled though if you don't like those there. And with iOS 14, of course, with any iOS release, we have new wallpapers. But interestingly enough, Apple updated a bunch of the older stripe wallpapers. So these are now dynamic and the background will shift to black. Also, a long-awaited one, unobtrusive call interface. So something we've been begging Apple for the longest time. You can be scrolling, you can be doing your thing. If you receive a call, it will not show up as a full screen interface here, just a small bar. Same thing goes for Siri. Apple has completely redesigned that, and the search results will now show up on the top with a small orb on the bottom. In landscape, Siri has a new view as well. She shows up evenly in the center. And on iPad, this is a benefit that the iPhone doesn't have. You can interact with applications in the background with Siri enabled. And for smaller iPhones, namely the 5.8-inch iPhone 10 and up models, there's now a new display zoom mode, zoomed, the same thing that you'd find on the larger iPhones, except now there's no limitation for smaller screens. Presumably, this is to prepare iOS 14 for the launch of the 5.4-inch iPhone, as it'll be a very similar screen size. And this feature here, picture-in-picture, is what I've been waiting for the longest time. One of the biggest reasons to jailbreak your phone. It's now available in iOS 14 on all iPhones. So not just limited to iPads, this is it. Finally, the real deal. Also available for FaceTime. I'm just waiting for Apple to add split screen multitasking, and then I'll need nothing else. And iOS 14 now allows you to change your default web browser app as well as your mail client. So any links will now open up directly in the browser of your choosing. Finally, Apple is really giving you everything you've wanted. Also, there's a new time picker, so wherever time or numbers are concerned, you can actually drag the dial or manually input. And a feature I found very cool but quite unreliable is back tap. It's an accessibility feature where you can program a double tap or triple tap on the rear of your phone to do a host of different things. There's a huge list here. Quick tip, whenever you're deep in Apple's menu system, just hold the back button and you'll get a list so you can quickly shortcut to the first page. A number of changes to the Messages application to make your experience far better. For one, you can now pin multiple contacts at the top page for easier access. There are now inline replies, so you can answer a question directly beneath the original text bubble, and tagging users within groups, amongst other features. And another fantastic one that we've been begging Apple for quite some time, emoji search. It works very well. The algorithm is very fine-tuned. You'll find any emoji you need as long as it's relevant to the word you type in. A huge time saver. And the fact that you can scroll in the results showing even more, great interface. And of course, a bunch of new emojis, namely the 2 new mask styles, which suit the times quite well. Overall, 20 new emoji styles and variations. Now, I still couldn't get a live demo of this one, but app clips are coming. They're a bite-sized version of any application that you need in order to perform an action, say rent a bike, but without having to download the full app. Within the camera app, we have a number of improvements. Older iPhone users will be happy to learn that Apple has added the fine-tuning for resolution and frames per second to the camera controls for video and slow motion. Also, for iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, night mode can now be stopped before completing. Also, there's a new exposure toggle, so you can manually set the exposure as you desire and leave it there. And also within the camera settings, there's a new option to mirror the front camera. I know a lot of Android users have the opposite of this on their smartphones. So going to an iPhone, it can kind of leave you a little disoriented. This gives you the possibility to choose. Not only did weather get new widgets, but within the weather app, Apple has done some restructuring here. The layout is slightly different. And as you can see, air quality index is now on the very top, especially if you're in an area where things are burning and air quality is unhealthy. It'll let you know that. And a large amount of changes within the music application. For one, haptic feedback when pressing buttons. Also, the background colors now transition faster in between different album arts, and they're more muted, so not quite as vibrant as before or earlier builds of iOS 14. Also, within music, if you exit while playing music, it'll actually resume exactly where you left off. Spotify feature. And AirPods. AirPods have received quite the upgrade. For one, spatial audio. I just demoed this today. It's pretty impressive. It sounds like the audio is planted, and when you move your head, the audio shifts. It's a trick, but it sounds so real, like it's coming from your phone. AirPods also gain the ability to seamlessly switch between your devices with this little toggle that'll pop down. AirPods will also receive low battery alerts in the same manner when that happens. And on your home screen, you'll find a new app called Translate. It does exactly what the name suggests. It'll translate between multiple languages in real time, and you can actually just place it in horizontal mode between you and the person you're speaking to. On-device translation is also available offline if the language pack is downloaded. And in Safari, when visiting a foreign website, translation is now available directly in Safari. So just visit your toolbar and click Translate to English. It actually does a pretty good job, as far as I could tell, works very well. And among several new privacy features, Privacy Report in Safari lets you know which websites are tracking you and how many attempts to be tracked Safari has stopped. And another security feature is camera and microphone usage indication. So whenever those have been recently used, it'll show up as a little dot and text in your control center. Same thing goes for clipboard data usage. If an app takes your pasteboard data, you'll actually get a prompt like that coming in from the top, letting you know that's occurred. Another great privacy feature is proximate location data sharing for third-party apps. So you don't have to share your exact location. It'll zoom out and give an approximate one. And a number of changes to the Maps application. Mine has been glitching like this for the last betas. Hopefully yours isn't. But you can now route your electric vehicle based on charger stations, new bicycle routings. Maps will now show you traffic signals as well as red light cameras. And there's a new feature called Guides, which will give you a curated tour of any particular city. And in the control center, you'll find a new toggle for sleep mode. So this is in combination with a new feature called Wind Down, basically letting you know when you should be going to sleep, when you should be waking up, and helping you plan your sleeping schedule better. Also in the control center, a new toggle for sound recognition. This is for the hard of hearing. If your iPhone senses one of these sounds, it'll alert you just in case you didn't catch it yourself. And the magnifier app, which now also has an icon on your home screen, has been completely redesigned. So completely new interface inside, much easier to use. And the home application has a fresh coat of paint, so slightly redesigned. Your shortcuts appear in this scrollable list up top with automations directly below it. And within home, you can now program certain lights to change color temperature throughout the day. And there are more video camera features for HomeKit compatible cameras. And I'm quite pleased with the updates to CarPlay. Interface has went through a few reworkings. There are now a number of new wallpapers. These are unique from the iOS 14 wallpapers. Also, a few new app types, and the structuring on the home screen slightly different. Modular boxes here for certain functions that will change depending on where you are or what programming is remembered. And Car Key, it's a pretty big deal. It allows you to store your car's keys in your Apple Wallet, although the rollout will be very slow, just available for the 5 Series from BMW. A notable iPadOS feature is called Scribble. It allows you to draw directly within search bars and have that translated to text. It's quite useful within the Notes app too. And that's it for the most notable features on iOS 14. Now I'd like to cover the speed impact of updating and battery life. So this is on iOS 14. iOS 13 has a notably higher multi-core score, and that's evident on multiple tests from different devices. For whatever reason, iOS 14 does bring that number down. Although performance has been okay, the occasional stutter here and there and lockup did happen in the beta program. The final version I haven't had enough time to test, but battery life has been pretty abysmal in the later betas on iOS 14. Oh, and for old time's sake, I ran a startup test between iOS 13 and 14. 14 started up literally a second later, so pretty much the same thing there. Battery life for me, again, was impacted. That's the only thing I caution you on. Maybe wait until iOS 14.1 just to be extra safe. But feature-wise, it's amazing. It's packed with them. There's only a few things left that I want from iOS. Overall, I'm very happy with this update. I was happy with 13, even more so with 14. All right, let's see what iOS 15 brings. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for next year. Peace.